First of all, who was the lawsuit against?
Nike.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was against Nike. And what particularly what was up?
Sneakers.
Which he was trying to steal the swoosh?
No, I took the silhouette of Jordan 1.
Jordan 1.
Yeah.
Okay. What's up, my people? We are checking in today with another episode of Inside the Vibe. I'm Yoru, and our guest today is a designer, he's an entrepreneur, a business owner, and a multifaceted creator. I give you Naadier. Did I get that right? Naadier? Yeah. All right. I was a little nervous about that because I feel like I know a lot of Naadiers, but they, like Naadier, they spell it differently with the IR, so I just want to make sure I ain't f your name. So
I got like 2 A's too.
Really? Okay, so yeah, you're doing it big with smooth. All right. So how you feeling today, Naadier?
I'm all right, a little tired.
It's been a long Saturday, man. It's been a long Saturday. Yeah. But I'm happy we were able to get you in here, have this conversation. I feel like Jay connected us, and definitely been a long time coming. Sit down and talk about your process, your journey, because you definitely have a interesting story, and I think people should kind of hear about what you've been through and who you've become. So where are you from?
I'm from New Brunswick.
Okay, smooth.
I was raised in New Brunswick and Newark. Like I went back and forth.
Oh, okay. I grew up in Franklin, so I know. I went to Rutgers, so I know all about New Brunswick, and like what the energy of that feels like. Did you go to school around here or anywhere? Or
I went to Montclair State.
Oh, okay, Montclair. I feel like I didn't learn about Montclair until I became an adult. Like I didn't know there was so many colleges around our area. Like I guess in an hour, which is our area or not, but until I got older and was like, got Rutgers, you got Montclair, you got Keene, you got I guess St. John's, which is all the way up there. But it's a lot of academia in the space, so a lot to choose from. Yeah. And did your time at Montclair, did that impact your journey to where you are now, I guess, in the creative space?
Yeah, it definitely had a big impact, I would say, yeah.
In what way?
Because I started my clothing brand like right before I went to college.
Really? So like senior year summer or like senior year like during
like
school?
Senior year summer, yeah.
Okay.
And then when I went to college, I was kind of like shy or like nervous or whatever. So I kind of like it kind of didn't exist for real.
Okay.
But my boy went there and he was like well known. So he was the one who
smooth. So like, did you gave him some pieces and he like
I gave him a hoodie and he just wore it every single day. He just wouldn't take it off.
A uniform. That's love though. Yeah, that's love. Facts. So did him like having that invested into like have such an investment into your clothes make you feel like like I got something?
Yeah, because he kept telling like he was telling people, and then whenever we would go into rooms or like little like kickbacks or waves, he kept like shouting or whatever. So it gave me that confidence to be like, yeah. At first, I was just like, this guy.
Yeah, right. And then now he helps become through your design and vision, but he gave you that confidence. Yeah. Are you guys are still close?
No, I don't know where he just like vanished. Really? Yeah, he got off social media. Like
wow, that's
last
crazy.
time I checked, he was in London. Like he just made a big move.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe he was an angel. I don't know. That sounded like he was put there just to get you popping.
Yeah, nah.
Well, I mean, you already had the vision, but he kind of gave you the amplifier, which is dope. I feel like there's so much about ourselves we learn in college, and it's not until you leave that you realize I found myself here. Mm-hmm. And you even started earlier in high school, that summer of senior year, which is so pivotal. Like boy starting to understand manhood. Yeah, very interesting moment to kind of come into your own. And the brand is called Global Heartbreak, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll speak to some of the symbolism that I saw on your socials as you kind of came to making that imagery for it, and as well as the name. So first thing we can start off with is I was watching, I don't know what episode it was, but it was on your page and the podcast you do with your friend. I don't think I saw his name, but and you were just going through like the challenge you've experienced with life and kind of people becoming different towards you as you kind of progressed in your personal journey and your journey as a designer and like multifaceted creator. And I wanted to know, do you see yourself as an emotionally evolved person? Yeah. And has that evolution impacted how you how you show up in your designs. How does that emotion show up in your designs with a name like Global Heartbreak?
I would say I'm emotionally like involved. My clothing brand started because like my emotions or what I was going through, my feelings, and throughout the years that changed. So I started my brand in 2017. So a lot changed. I healed a lot over things. So some things you may have seen earlier in like 2018, 2019, you won't see now. So I would say like me being emotionally involved, it has changed the brand and stuff, and just things that I went through.
Can you speak to those the things that you
Yeah.
went through that made the brand?
So my brand, Global Heartbreak, is basically about heartbreaks all over the world. I know a lot of people they hear it and they're automatically like, it's a girl. Which granted, when it started, it was like a 50-50. It was my mom and a girl. So as the years went on, I was just trying to push that it's not about that. Like a heartbreak can come from friends, grandparents, anybody. Just like I told you, I had that friend. You're like, "Are you still close?" And I'm like, "Nah, I don't know where he is." Like that could be that's a heartbreak. Like
Yeah,
he helped
especially
me create this brand, like
absolutely,
push it, and now I don't know where he is. Like like I could have lost a piece of me. Like that's a heartbreak. It
100%,
doesn't have to be like a relationship.
100%.
Mhm.
So you speak to heartbreak not always being romantic in nature. Like
Yeah.
there's platonic heartbreak, there's heartbreak of maybe a estranged relationship with a family member,
Hmm.
or even just like losing yourself.
Yeah.
So I think when, like you said, people hear heartbreak and think that might mean a woman, but men are allowed to feel heartbreak and they do feel heartbreak
Right.
in different ways. So I think that's something that I would say kind of connects all of us.
And it's harder being a man to like for me, I have to get on social media and be like, I don't have to be, but I choose to be vulnerable. And throughout the years, I'm vulnerable with my brand, myself, because it's easy to get on social media and say like, I have this and
Yeah,
that, and people don't really show you their losses or when they're going through when they like get knocked down, when they have to build themselves back up. They usually
absolutely.
just get off social media, deactivate, and that's the time that I take to come on social media and like, yo, like I'm going through life right now, like this is not like I talk about my losses because I have a lot of losses with being, just my life and a person, and also owning businesses.
Yeah, I think that was one thing I saw when I was looking at your profile that was dope.
Hmm.
You were very transparent in what you've gone through. And, we're men, we're black men. That that kind of transparency on camera
Hmm.
isn't it's not as I wouldn't say it's as normal as you would think. Obviously, the safe space, but people say that, but it's not often people like men take advantage of that.
Yeah.
So I thought that was like very bold and it was very like admirable to see somebody. Now I'm going through life, I'm making it happen, but like don't think this is easy. Like I'm
Yeah.
pushing through
Yeah.
because that's my character. That's the resilience I embody
Hmm.
with myself, my brand, and the way I approach what I feel like my mission is.
Hmm. It's real tricky and hard because even like I run different accounts. So like I have one account which is like Global Heartbreak Archive,
Mm-hmm.
and I post quotes, and the quotes came from a year ago when I guess we'll get into. Pretty much, I was in a dark space, and I was just like I couldn't sleep. I still have like insomnia. I've had it for since like high school. So one time I was just up and I just wrote a whole bunch of quotes. I kept writing them, kept writing them, writing them, writing them. It was like to myself, and it was a time where I took to reflect, and I would put it in my drafts, and then now I started to like release them as the daily quotes, like, and then people like ask me, "Why are you so sad?" I'm like, these quotes aren't sad. Like some of them because they're global heartbreak, they're just on brand
Yeah.
with the heartbreak, but some of them are really like, oh, like go out and get it, like, and it's like I don't know. Like I had a female pull me aside, like, why? Why do you always post sad stuff? And I'm like, have you taken the time to look through all of them? And when I take those days, like today, I didn't post a quote. I'll get text messages like, bro, it's 10 o'clock. Like, why haven't you? Because I usually post them around like 7 or 8, and they're like, yo, we're not getting no quote. We're not like, and then people say like, yo, it be pushing me, it be getting more. I'm like, damn, I didn't even know. Like,
People pay attention.
yeah, because I just put it out. I just put them out, and they get like 5 likes. Like it's like an archive account. Like it has like 160 followers, and I didn't know like people really
Yeah.
are like waiting.
One thing I find interesting about anything you do in this day and age, like if if you build something, right? And you build the right thing, people will come.
Right.
And even if you think nobody saw you build it, people are watching.
Right.
Like people are always watching to see, okay, I see that he has this brand over there. He's posting these quotes. Okay, I'm watching. I don't know if I'm gonna interact yet, but I'm watching.
Right.
And then they're waiting for someone else to let them know that, yo, what he built is fly. Like he's speaking to us. These quotes are hitting. Like I'm connecting with this. Like y'all should check it out.
Yeah.
And then that's when those 160 turn into 16,000 or 16 million. Like those people are always watching.
Right.
And I think it's interesting to see how they show up after they've decided to stop watching and be more interactive. And obviously that's what you're seeing with those people reaching out to, you know, check on you in the relation to your quote and how often you're posting them. So you have two symbols for the brand that I saw, and they seem to have two different meanings. Can you share what they represent to you, those two different symbols?
Yeah, I seen you ask it. I was wondering because I have a lot of symbols, but
so on the page I saw like there was a symbol and then it changed, and it was like a heart. I think one had a bear, and then one was two hearts. Or like two like joint hearts. But you said you have multiple symbols.
I have multiple, yeah. So the main logo which I started using in 2017, it was actually a tattoo design. Like it's like a family friend to me now. Like Philippe, he designed it, and which is two hands mending a broken heart, and it's sewing it back together. And that was supposed to be, it was supposed to resemble me and my mom. Like it takes two people to hit like a broken heart, and if you see the heart, it's never gonna be like whole again. It's always gonna have some type of scar because that's just what it is. Like it's never gonna be whole like it happened. And there's diamonds and money around, and I was symbolizing like my dad, and it was just like my dad was there financially for me in my life, and as far as like love and stuff like that, and teaching me how to love and accept love, he wasn't there. It was just I always had clothes, food. He moved us into a house. He built the house up. You know what I'm saying? So that the money and the diamonds supposed to represent my dad. People gravitated. I explained this, and I had a whole bunch of logos at the time. I think at the time I had 4 or 5, and I made videos explaining all of them. But everybody gravitated to the bear for some reason. And this is really early on, like 2017, 2018, where there weren't a lot of clothing brands that had bears. Now there are a whole bunch of brands that have bears, which is why I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna just pull it away, even though everyone gravitated towards that one. So I used it a lot, and then I rebranded. So if you look at the profile picture, it's just a heart, and I rebranded once I got sued.
So that suit kind of shifted. I guess it made you go to the drawing board creatively. Go back to it.
Yeah, because I wanted to create something that was just like I could use it for everything. I could use it for athletic wear. I could use it for urban streetwear, school uniforms. Like I just wanted that logo that I could just use, and I felt like I said, like we spoke on before about being emotionally evolved and stuff, and it was like that those first logos I felt like it was kind of childish and it was in the beginning, and I grew and I healed so much into like a better man. So I wanted to show that in my brand, and I wanted it to be simple because sometimes less.
And you said the suit kind of made you rework where you were thinking creatively.
Yeah,
and we'll definitely get to that later because that's a big part of the story and a big part of what you went through to be able to still be in business. You know, almost a decade later. So, global heartbreak. Can you walk me through how you prepare for a drop? Like, let's say you have something in your head and it's like this is even before you bring it to paper or to sketch it. Like, walk me through the process of what's in your head versus what we can go online and purchase. What are the steps for you as the man behind the idea?
So it's just me. I did have not a I had someone that helped me, but he moved. Teep, who I speak highly of all the time.
Man, people keep just leaving, man. What's going on?
Yeah, he just moved. He moved, but he still helps like when he can.
Okay.
He helps graphic design. He used to shoot videos and stuff for me. So I guess to bring it off of, because we usually use like Procreate.
Okay.
And to bring it off of Procreate, just finding manufacturers and samples. Because I've been doing it for 8 years, like I have a list of a bunch of manufacturers, but some of them, like you might have some that's good at denim and some that's not.
Different
So it
type
just
of
depends on whatever the piece is,
Absolutely.
which manufacturer you want to go through, and getting samples made. So that takes time to get here, and then going from there, like getting maybe like 5-6 samples, doing shoots, testing the quality out. It's a lot, and it's hard and it is tricky depending on what it is because it's just me.
Yeah.
So
in that process, how do you know when you have it? Like there's different. You're reaching out to your manufacturers. You're getting a sample. Mm-hmm. How do you know? Okay, this is the product. This is what I want the world to see when they click and they purchase and they receive the product.
Me personally, like if I like it, but it's usually some close people around that I keep, and I ask them like women and females, women and males. I ask them like, how do they feel about it? What could be changed? So I go through a whole bunch of different stuff because maybe I think like this is the finalized product, and this is what I want to put out. But someone's like, nah, it'd be better if you cropped it. And I'm like, oh, I see that. Like sometimes I don't see it until like I have it here, and maybe we'll cut it. Like maybe we'll cut the sample and see like all right, yeah, and we'll shoot in it, and then we'll post it and see how other people feel.
See the feedback,
and if they like it, it's like, all right, this is what we're gonna go with. But sometimes it's not me that's like, because the vision I have, and I'm like, all right, this is it. There's always someone else like, you can make it better if you just did this.
And it's important to have that team around you that respects and is protective of your vision, but also sees where, because you're the creator, how your vision can kind of get in the way of another maybe minor component that could take it to a whole nother level. Yeah. So having that team is very great, and because it helps you push past the limitations of kind of what you would be able to do yourself, which is like very, very dope and pivotal for someone in any type of consumer serving business. Right. So can you describe a moment in your life where you felt you could do anything?
After my lawsuit was over. After my lawsuit was over.
You felt free.
Yeah, I was like, there's nobody that could stop me.
Okay. So I think at this point we might as well jump into the lawsuit, because I think a lot of your story professionally was altered and impacted by this lawsuit. So tell us what happened and kind of where it started for you and where it is now, if you can speak to that.
So the lawsuit happened.
First of all, who was the lawsuit against?
Nike.
Okay. Yeah. So it was against Nike, and what particularly did they? What was up?
Sneakers.
Which he was trying to steal the swoosh.
No, I took the silhouette of Jordan 1.
Jordan 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I spoke on before, it's just me. So the research that I had done and everything that I thought I changed, it wasn't enough. And I knew going into it, but I kept, and this is so bad that I'm going to say this, I kept telling myself that I was a small fish. And I was like, I'm a small fish. People kept asking me, like, you're not scared? And I was like, nah, I'm smallest fish in the pond. Like, there's no way. And
there was way.
Yeah. I made a way because they found me from a documentary that released on YouTube. And the documentary that released, they had 1 million subscribers. So when I gave them permission to do the documentary on me and Teeb, I pulled Teeb aside and I was like, this could either make me or break me. Like, it could either blow the brand up or, like, I'm got. And he was like, what you want to do? And I was like, let's do it.
Gotta gamble.
Yeah.
Calculated risk. So when they said that you utilized the Jordan 1 silhouette in your brand.
Yeah.
So you kind of knew they had you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the Nike suit was over the Jordan 1 silhouette. And because you kind of knew where you drew inspiration from your product from, you knew if they came knocking, you knew exactly what the call was about. So how did you prepare for the showdown against Nike? You kind of knew, hey, they kind of caught me with my hand in the cookie jar, but you still chose to fight it.
It was scary. It was real bad.
Because it's Nike, like it's Nike.
Yeah, like I was like, and I know that like it's me, and I'm doing it by myself, so I had no team or anybody to be like, all right, yeah, we're all going down. Like, all right, we could.
No, it's just you looking in the room and it's just you.
Yeah. So, it was bad timing. So my house burned down like 2-3 days before I got sued. So I was like,
Sheesh. You think they were behind it?
nah. I don't. It was one of those things. It's like everything
I
happened
don't
for a
know.
reason.
Yeah, that's a little suit.
Nah.
Nike. I don't know. They might be playing mob games. Like,
Nah, it was one of those things. Like everything happened for a reason. For real. Like it was a place that I had should have moved from. Because I had certain like ties.
well, hold on, no, don't just put your hand back in your pocket. What do you mean you had ties?
Like me and my ex, we lived there. We went on a lease together, and then she moved out, and the apartment held like certain like energy, and I kept saying like,
okay.
I kept saying like I'm gonna move, and then the next year happened, I'll move, and then I just kept staying and staying.
And I'm guessing that relationship didn't like, it didn't end the best where you felt that energy wasn't beneficial to you, or because you said you spoke to energy.
It's not that it didn't end the best. It's just I entered a new situation,
Oh, okay.
so it's like I should start over,
Completely.
and it's just me.
Yeah.
As far as like family situation, I don't have the best family situation, so some things are like real hard. I couldn't just jump up and jump into a different lease. This was what was best for me
At the time, yeah.
Yeah, at the time, but it definitely hurt the relationship a little bit.
I can understand that.
There's like someone else coming into something that some other female helped build.
Yeah,
Like,
100. Yeah, it's like they can kind of feel this is. I feel like you had something before me.
Yeah.
Now I'm pressing play to somebody else's pause game.
Right.
So, that's going on, and the lawsuit happens days after, and then you also spoke to your family situation.
Mm-hmm.
So you said that it wasn't the best. Was it like a situation like? Well, I guess I don't want to put words in your mouth. When you said that, what are you referencing?
So my family situation has always been real rocky. Like since I was a kid, I went through like foster home, group homes, and stuff like that. So I don't have what everyone else had. Like they could go to aunts, uncles, grandma, grandpa, stuff like that. I just had me at the time. My mom and dad is still alive, and they were in like driving distance. Like one was like 15 minutes, and one was like 20 minutes. But I came so far from like when I went to Montclair. Just to take it back a little bit. When I went to Montclair State, I didn't tell anybody I was going to college. I just went to college.
Really?
And I didn't say anything. And my parents found out once I was already like on campus and stuff like that.
That's supposed to be like a big moment where the kid drives. Right. The parents drives their kid to the college for the first time, but you experienced that alone.
And that was one of my things. Like when I walked, I went to walk alone, and some people didn't really.
You mean walk like across the stage?
When I went to walk across the stage, I went to do it alone.
Really?
Yeah, and it was a decision that I sat on for a while. My mom, at the time, by the time I graduated, she was around, and it was one thing that she didn't really like. They didn't really like it, and I slept on it, and I was like, a decision that I wanted to make. Like I wanted to walk alone. Like I came into it alone.
So was you walking alone? Was that because you felt you did it alone? Did you feel that you didn't have the support?
I feel like I did everything alone. I was like, yo, I got to do this alone. Like,
I gotta I built this, so I didn't experience it.
I didn't feel like people deserve to like see that.
Exactly, and I can understand that if you're someone who, hey, I pushed through, I went against the odds, and I made this out of myself, and I did it in spite of my situation, not because of it. I wouldn't be comfortable with you now coming around and taking, enjoying in the spoils of my labor.
Yeah, right. So when I say my family situation, when I go back into the lawsuit, is I didn't come this far to be like, yo, I need help.
Yeah, because all your life to that point, everything you've succeeded, it was on a muscle. And in 15 to 20 minutes, that's crazy. But the mindset, if the mindset of yourself was that it's me, even if they were 5 minutes away, you still maybe wouldn't even think to reach out. So all of this happens 3 or 4 days before the lawsuit. So how do you even find out? Do they mail, call? How are they communicating with you?
It was like, how they say like things happen in threes?
Yeah.
Things literally happen in threes. The house burned down.
Okay.
And then I parked like a little bit into like this lady's like driveway, and she got my car towed out here. So I had to go through this whole thing with like Newark Police Station and stuff like to get my car back. And I seen it. It popped up, and I was like, like whatever. Oh, it popped up. That's what it was. So when we did the documentary, I told T to Photoshop a lawsuit to just hit the internet and just be like, yo, I got sued, blah, 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 and just create this whole thing.
So at the time, it wasn't real, or was it real?
No, at the time, it was real, but I didn't know it was real because I told T to Photoshop it. So when it came, I was like, oh, where? I opened it. I was like, oh, this is good. Like, this is a good Photoshop. And then I exited. And because I was trying to
So
get
it was
my
like
car.
foreshadowing. Like, you didn't even know that this was a real thing, but you kind of like preemptively thought it could happen. So you kind of materialized it. But then Nike was like, you know what? We'll do you one better.
Right.
Here's the real thing.
Right.
That's crazy.
So when I got the car back or whatever, I was like, I opened it. I was like, oh, this is good. Like, so I messed with him. Like, this is my boy. And I went to work. I think I went to work. I was driving, and he was like, I sent it to him. So he finally got a chance to open it. So he called me. He's like, he texted me. He's like, what do you want me to do to the thing that you emailed me? And I was like, nothing. Like, it's good. He's like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's good. And I was like, duh, you
made it.
You made it. And he's like, I don't know, I did.
Oh man.
And I was like, huh?
Because
I Googled the law firm and I was like, oh, he's nice. Like, he really like did his research. I'm like, this is a good law firm word. And
yeah, that's crazy.
He kept laughing, like sending me voice messages laughing. I was like, bro, why are you laughing? And I'm like, yo, call me. So I think I called him and I was like, it's not funny. He's like, y'all didn't make that. And I'm like, yo, when we were talking, you said like you made it. And he's like, no, because there was a music video on top of that he edited. And he was referring to that. So it was just a whole bunch of miscommunication.
Oh, the audio there was audio that was a part of this?
He sent me he sent me a music video, like, check this out, like I edited it, and we were talking about that, and then we started to talk about
so the conversation got mixed.
Yeah.
Smooth.
Gotcha. He's like, I'm like, you told me you edited, and he's like, no, I was talking about the video. And I'm like, oh. I'm like, this is real.
Yeah.
So that's how I found out. And then
I
sat with it for a little bit, and then I went to the internet. I was like, I knew that this was happening. Like, I knew it was a risk that I was going to take with doing the sneakers, blah, blah, blah. Got used against me. Everything that I said, caption, if we were tweeting, the thread got screenshotted.
Because Nike, they're not playing with you. That's the big boys, big boys.
So it was like, I was like, I had to just shut up. Because they were taking everything, my captions, everything.
Wow.
And using it against me in court.
So how did the conclusion of the suit, like, what happened next? They send you hey, we're doing this, and then how did you respond?
So at first when I spoke on it on Instagram, it wasn't a lawsuit. It was a
what was it? What do they call them? Cease and desist.
Yeah, so it wasn't a cease and desist yet.
Oh.
It was a copyright infringement. So it was like, yo, we see you, stop.
Got you.
So that's what I took to the internet. Like, I also wasn't educated on a lot of things, so I automatically was like, all right, this is it. This is the lawsuit. I didn't know that wasn't. So they sent me it was a couple pages of things that I could understand. So it was like, we see you, stop, yada, yada, yada. And I read it. I went to the internet. I was like, oh, I knew that this would happen, blah, blah, blah. And they took that. They used it against me. So I was negotiating. And the first agreement, because they sent me about 3 agreements, I think, before I got to court. The first agreement was you have 90 days to sell this. You have 60 days to sell the shoes, sell all the rest of the shoes, and then you have to stop. So
okay. A little reasonable.
I'm like, So it wasn't a lawsuit. It was like, yo, you can sell them. You have 60 days.
But don't make no more. This is it.
Yeah. Sell off the rest of the ones that you got. So I was like, house burned down. So I was already at a place where I was going on all these apartment tours. Like, yo, I gotta move. I can't rely on family. I don't have these people, you know what I'm saying, to go to. I gotta move. So they're saying this, and I'm like, bro, I'm not thinking about selling 60.
I'm trying to find a place to live.
Yeah, so I'm like, bro, that's gonna be hard to try to sell these shoes while trying to move. I'm like, yo, nah. So I countered it. I'm like, I need more time. This is not like, let them know, like, life pretty much. He was like, all right, we give you 90 days. Then he added stuff. So he was like, all right, we give you 90 days. You got to destroy the rest of the shoes after the 90 days. We want the manufacturers making it. We want how many.
They try to turn you to a
snitch.
snitch.
They wanted how many I sold, how many I have in stock. They wanted the different colorways. They wanted my design, and they got to the point where they wanted my designs. And
Oh, so you think they was trying to do the
yeah, and I
okey doke?
had 56 designs, 55 or 56 designs. I only put 4 out. So I was like, no. So that's when the lawsuit came because me, my brand is my baby. I don't have any like kids, you know what I'm saying? And that's like my first child. And because my brand is me and my life and the things that I went through, and I put so much like time, effort, like pain, like cried about it, like nights I cried about it, I was like, no. Like y'all want all my designs, everything I worked
I
hard
can't give
for.
you my life.
Yeah,
That's my
just
life.
and I'm like, yo, and it was a chance to really be like, yo, this dude is mad creative, about like we could put him on the team. So it was like a make or break me, and I was like, so where I messed up, where I know I did, and I never got a chance to really say like publicly apologize for it, which is what they wanted. They wanted a public apology also, and which I had no problem with, but they wanted the public apology on my personal account and they wanted it on my clothing account, and it was scripted, and I said no. You want me to say what you want me to say,
Yeah,
like
this isn't me.
yeah, and then they wanted me to sell the sneakers. That was another thing. I had done 60 or 90 days to sell the sneakers, but every time I would post about the sneakers and sell it, I had to put like a disclaimer. And the disclaimer was basically like telling you like, hey, yeah, like, you probably see me like, oh, these are hard, like I want these. And then in the caption, I'm pretty much telling you like, oh, they're fake. So you read on Instagram scrolling, you like, oh, these are fire, and then you see the disclaimer, you like, it's gonna throw you off, like, huh? What do
Yeah,
you
like
mean?
I'm not buying fake
So
shoes if
it
they
was
sell.
hurting my brand. Like this, the sneakers was hurting everything else that I built that was
Absolutely.
mine. So I was like, no, I didn't want to do that, and I never got the chance to publicly. And this is what I will publicly apologize for, because this is now that I worked so hard to be able to do podcasts and do things like this and use my own words. What I do apologize for is being ignorant, because I was moving off of emotions, and because I knew I could no longer use the designs. I took all the 50 designs that I didn't use, the shoes I didn't drop, and you know how iPhone you could hold it down and make it a sticker.
Mm-hmm.
I made them all a sticker, and I put them on my Instagram account, and I put SMD, because I was like, yo, whatever kid I inspire, whoever sees it, whoever likes it, take it. I'd rather you guys take it than them. They wanted them, and I was like, no. So
But
I made them public.
do you think that was ignorant, or that was you kind of telling Nike you can't stop me? Because there's a way you could like, I guess, preface it as ignorance, but they also wanted your designs that it's almost like, it was their Jordan 1 is their baby, right?
Yeah,
And they felt
right.
because the way you customize it, because their the silhouette was the foundation, they wanted everything for that.
Right.
But it's like, to the point you made, why not bring this person on? Why not consult with them? And that way you get to utilize, another young black creative professional and tell that story rather than paying bully ball. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure in that emotional moment there was some ignorance,
Right.
but it also was in a way like, hey, like we're bigger. This is ours. We could work out a deal, but we're just gonna stop. We're gonna step on the creativity.
Yeah.
We're not gonna work with you because we don't feel we have to. We're Nike, and you're just global heartbreak from their perspective. But I mean, I think even you saying it was a little ignorant is a big step, because I'm sure at the time you wasn't going for that.
Yeah, and I was like, it's not ignorant or whatever. It's like I feel like I had no control over, you know what I'm saying, everything that I worked for. It was like, give us these designs.
Yeah.
You can sell them, but you have to put what we say. You have to give us a public apology, and it's scripted what we say. Oh, you can't talk about it also. So I couldn't do any podcasts. So my whole brand is, being vulnerable and explaining, dang, I went through this. And because this was so like such a big thing in my life, I want to be able to be like, all right, I took the L, let me go talk about it. I couldn't even talk about it.
So how does it feel now that you're able to kind of tell your story in terms of what you were experiencing with this thing? Now it's like, I can be transparent. I can be true to self.
I really feel like I'm just like what I said before, like I'm unstoppable, because those were my 2 offers I gave you before I got to court. My 3rd offer was, you have 6 days at the time, because I was like, you know what? I did apologize. Like, I apologized in an email to their lawyers, and I was like, moved off of emotions. Like, I'm going through stuff in my life, my house right now, whatever. And they were like, okay, we understand. You have to give us a $30,000 check in 6 days.
Wow. Where did they get the valuation for $30,000?
I don't know where the $30,000, and at that point in my life, if you know, that was like a magical number for some reason. Because I also had lost $30,000 prior to, prior to me making the sneakers, I lost $30,000. So, which made me make the sneaker, and I sold 100 sneakers in 2 days and made 15,000. And I was like, oh, all right, I'm gonna make another pair because I was so caught up, like I lost that 30.
Absolutely.
So I made another pair, and then I made another pair, like. So that's how I even got caught in that. So for them to ask me for 30, I was like, this number is haunting me.
So that pair, was that another design, or was that part of the issue at hand, the Jordan 1 silhouette base?
Which one?
You say you sold 100 pairs and made 15,000?
Yeah, that was the first sneaker ever, and I was so iffy about it because
and that had nothing to do with the suit. That wasn't Jordan 1 silhouette.
No, it was.
Oh, so those were the ones.
It was a college dropout. Yeah,
got it. And then you just weren't gonna give them the 30,000 because even though you made half of it, since you had just lost the 30, this was like, okay, if I do this again, I can be whole again.
At that point, when they were asking for the 30, I had already made over 30. I have already made over 30,000.
Oh, so you could have given it to them. You were just like, no.
Yeah. Because it was just like life was hitting, and I'm just like, bro, I can't go.
And I'm having some glimmer of hope. My house burned down.
Yeah.
I'm in this position where I feel like I'm fighting by myself. I'm making some money. This is the only light at the end of the tunnel I see. Why give you the only hope I have right now?
Right.
So you said you lost 30. How did you lose 30?
I never really spoke on this. I'll try to say it in a way that's not hurting anyone. I had a family member take $30,000
from you.
Yeah, it wasn't like they just took it. They committed a little fraud. You know what I'm saying? Someone very close to me, and I had to sleep on it. I had to sleep on the decision to make it a bigger thing, and I had to look at who would it affect if I went legal, like the people around that person, who would it affect, and it was big. And I know the life I lived, being in foster care and growing up without certain people in my life, I had to look at the people they had around them that they were taking care of, and I was like, all right.
You just opted to take it to the chin because it would inevitably hurt you as well.
Yeah.
So this is all around the same time?
This was before.
How much time between this?
This was a couple months before, but it's 30,000, so it was just dragging out.
I'm not gonna lose 30,000. I'm always feeling it. I'm gonna remember too.
Yeah, it was dragging out. I
definitely understand that.
It was dragging out, so it was like, I gotta make I gotta flip, and that's what I hate because I like doing things, because I like it, and this is what I like to do, and that first sneaker was a time where, I wanted to do something for somebody.
Yeah.
And I had the money to do that for somebody because that wasn't for me. That sneaker wasn't for me. It was for a friend because he was doing contests and they were taking the best artist and he kept losing. So I was like, yo, I think you tough. I was like, I'll make your sneaker. And he's like, do you know how to make it? And I was like, no, but it can't be any different than making clothes. Like, and he's like, all right. And I gave him full creative control to make the sneaker. He made a sneaker. He designed a box, and at that time, I had to make it about money because that happened, and I was like, "Ooh,
yeah,
yeah."
So, what was the price point of the shoe?
How much I sold it for?
Yeah,
I sold it for the first sneaker I sold for $150.
And you made 15 off of it. So you said you sold 100 or 200?
I made 100. I didn't altogether. Like I made 15 back, but I didn't profit 15.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So now back to the suit. The third thing they said, hey, we need 30,000 in 6 days.
Right.
So what happens after that?
The 6 days pass, and after the 6 days pass, I was like, all right, now I know I'm gonna get served.
Yeah.
But where? Because my house burned down. I had moved to Newark with my aunt, and when my house burned down, I didn't tell anybody. I just disappeared. So I would just go to work, go to the house, go to work, go to the house. So I was like, they're not gonna catch me. And they're like, yo, if they want to catch you, they'll come to your job. Like, your social is connected to everything.
Yes.
So I was like, ooh. And the thing with being served, you never know who it is that's serving.
Yeah, they played nasty games when it comes to that.
So they watched me, and they watched me good. And my boy, Bonds, he has these sneaker events called Peep My Kicks. And I bought a ticket from, I always buy a table or whatever. And that's where, the documentary, that's how it all started. The documentary got shot at one of his sneaker events. So I told him, yo, I'm gonna get a table because I need to sell the rest of these sneakers. I'm not promoting this because I knew I was getting watched. I wouldn't promote it. I wouldn't talk on social media. I wouldn't say anything. That's where I got served.
Well, they already had the people on you.
Yeah, and it was like I'm not gonna lie, being sued was so stressful, but it was and I say this and people don't understand. Like when I say it was the best thing that ever happened to me, and every interaction was just like something I needed. Like even when I got served, it wasn't like, "Are you Naadier?" And I'm like, "Yeah." It's like, "Here you go." It was like a full blown conversation with this lady, and she was just like, "Yo, you don't even understand what you have." Like she was telling me this lady that served me. I like wish I could run into her again. She was just like telling me about herself, her daughter, because when the thing happened on social media, it was like I was this, I was just like this arrogant person. I was ignorant. So when she came to serve me, I didn't see the envelope. None of us, one person seen the envelope, but I didn't see the envelope. She had it like this.
So you're speaking to this woman who was serving you these papers from Nike and how Nike was watching you, and you knew they were watching you. So you're going to this Peep My Kicks event with your boy, but you don't promote it. You just hopefully that the right people are there who are interested in buying your product and the sneaker.
Right.
And she's having this full on conversation with you. When did you said somebody saw the letter? When did you know? Like, did you know before she put the letter down that she was?
No. I told her she was serving me, and then she gave me the letter.
Oh, so you knew she was serving you. What did she say?
Didn't. I'm gonna tell you. So she said, she was pretty much just when she came in there and she realized, oh, she had kids that were in college. So when she seen me, she's like, oh, like these are just like one of my kids' friends, like one of my son's friends. So she tested me to see if I was what everyone thought I was on social media. So my boy was talking to her. We're packing up. So we're on our last bag to bring to the car to leave. And he's telling her about the sneaker or whatever, and I'm just sitting there and I'm quiet. And whenever I go to events, my boy T that I spoke about, I always introduce him as like the graphic designer, and he does like the video stuff and everything for the brand. And my other boy, I always say like he's like the director, like the creative director and everything. So I always introduce them and put them in or whatever. So he's doing the sneaker thing with her, and she's like, you like that you want to say something, like you want to take credit for all this. And I was like, no. I'm like, this is all of ours. I'm like, this is what he does. This is what he does. And I'm the owner, but we all do it together. Even though that wasn't necessarily the thing, but when I go to the events, I don't just be like, yeah, it's mine. Oh, like I got my two boys with me. Like,
come on. And they put something in, whether it's not all equal, they have a contribution to the brand.
Right. So she was like, oh, okay. And I was just waiting for him to finish so he could leave. It wasn't like I was looking any type of way I wanted to take. So that was in the back of my head. I was like, oh, that was a little weird. So Teeb just sitting there. He's like, me and him keep looking at each other. And he's like, we're giggling because my boy Dre, he's like a salesman. Like he can sell you anything. So we're just like, this guy. And she starts talking to me, and she's asking me like, oh, how many events do you do? And I'm like, oh, whenever they come up, like I do them a Saturday or a Sunday. Sometimes both, depending. Like if it's one in New York, I'll do a Saturday, and if it's one in New Jersey, I'll do a Sunday, or if they're both. And she's like, oh, you're not going hard enough. I was like, huh? Like, I'm like, yo, I'm doing the best I can. Like, I just told you what I'm doing. And she's like, nah, you need to go to like the ones all over. And I'm like, oh, like, how do I do that? Because some of them be far. Like, and I'm like, how do I make it to go to the one in New York? And she was like, there's a way. Like, you're just not going hard enough. Like, you don't want it. Like, she's like, you have something great. Like, you wouldn't even realize what you have. Like, what you have is really good. And she's telling me like, oh, how do you sell your stuff? And I'm like, social media. She was like, nah. And I always knew that. I was like, yo, you have those times where like Instagram stopped working, you can't go post on your story,
and then it's like, how you gonna sell?
Yeah, and then everybody goes to Twitter like, is anybody Instagram like down too? Yeah. So I was like, yeah, I knew that. And she's like, oh, you need to get off social media if that's the only way you could sell. Like, you need to be rubbing elbows with people and stuff like that. So I was like, okay. So then the conversation was done, and she goes, what did you take from this conversation? I was like, that I'm not going hard enough. She was like, right. What else? There was nothing from that conversation that I could have taken outside of you're not going hard enough, you need to do more. And I looked at her and I said, you're serving me. And she's like, I'm so sorry. And she took it out, like she took it out, and she was like, and I'm like, wow. And I knew it, but the conversation was over, and I only knew it once she said what else, and I realized there was nothing else that could have been there.
Yep.
And she was just like, yo, I'm sorry, like everything I said, like I meant. You really have something, like you have a gift, you don't even know it, and you're not like using your full potential at all. And I knew I wasn't using my full potential, but it's just so hard.
So conversation ends. You take what you can from it. Nike gives you your 3 warnings, and what happens next? Like, how does this story end with you on the couch being able to speak about what your experience with Nike?
So now, I was actually shooting that day. Like I was shooting for a commercial because I was really like I was in a dark place. Like when it happened, I was on like Yahoo. I was on Yahoo like 4 different times, 4 different articles. Um, all my friends they knew about it. Uh, my relationship like was coming to an end with this new girl, and my comments was bad. Like it was all negative stuff in my DMs, and I was like, "Yo, it's whooping me." So
What were they saying?
oh, you're so ignorant, you're stupid. Nike gave you a chance because that's how Nike painted it in the articles. Like, oh, we gave him a chance to stop, and he was like, no, he told us SMD, and he did this and he did that.
But from your perspective, it wasn't a real chance because
Yeah, it came with so
life
much.
and 30,000 in 6 days.
Yeah,
And then on top of that, it was almost they were giving you 3 bad deals.
Yeah,
and it was either sell your soul, sell your well being, or just fail.
Right,
like,
but nobody on the outside knew that. They're just like, bro, if I had the chance and I gave him a chance to stop, I would have just stopped. And I'm like, no, but it's way more than that.
Especially if they're not creators, they're probably not. They don't understand what giving Nike.
And my voice was small. I couldn't get on my story and be like, hey, no, this is actually what happened. So I was like, I got a boost of energy, and I was like, I want to shoot a commercial. And when she was serving me, we were shooting it, and my guy Brian, the videographer, he had just left, so he didn't even catch any of this footage. He had just left, and we shot it, and I released it. And when I released it, I put everybody that had negative comments, I put them in the beginning of the video. I put every comment that popped up, I put in the beginning of the video. And I go, the commercial is exactly how it played out. I go from there, I go to my dad's store, and I'm like, my dad owns a convenience store. And I go in there, and I was like, they got me. Because everyone like knew I was getting served, but was just like, win. And I was like, yep, they got me. Like, they finally caught me. They caught me at the event. And he's like, you know, what you gonna do? What you gonna do next? Like, you can't stop. Everything was just what my dad says. There was no script or nothing. It was like from the heart. And it was just like, bro, like you did so much. You helped so much people, and your brand is about this and that. Like, you gonna stop just because you know you made a mistake and you made sneakers. Like, your brand is not about sneakers. It never was about sneakers. And the paper was like, you know, you had a certain amount of time to respond to it. And this is where it was like, oh shit. Because I was young and I never been in this, certain like lawyers, whatever, they were trying to take advantage. So they were messaging me, emailing me, and they're like, hey, like, we fought this case, we fought that case, like
trying to get their pound of flesh.
Yeah. So it was so hard. And the people, I had to like do research at the same time of like trying to find the best lawyer. I had to go hit up like those celebrities that they were talking about, like, oh, we fought for Kanye, we had to do this. And some of them was responding to me, which I'm like, yo, there's no way there. But it got so big that like people knew about me, and they were like, yo, no, that guy actually like screwed me. He was in the beginning or whatever. Like, this is the person that fought it, and they were giving me lawyers, and then that got tricky because one guy went from give me 10,000 and I'll put it into it. Like, I got them in my back pocket. Like, you know, I got their contacts. Like, you don't even gotta do too much. I could call them up. And this was the guy that beat the case. Like, he fought it and he beat it. Then it went to like, oh, 30,000. I'm gonna give you more time to respond. I'm like, I want it to end. Why would I give you 30,000 for more time to respond? And that was what they were asking for it not to get to court.
Yeah, I might as well just pay it out.
So I was like, if I give you 30,000, I want it to just end. And this is why I was saying like this 30,000 number. Like, wow, I don't know why it keeps popping up. Like,
it's the third time.
Yeah. So and then he wanted, because he was in LA, he needed a New Jersey lawyer to go like defend me for him because he was in LA. And I was like, bro, this is like ridiculous. So that's when I took the time where I was writing all the quotes and I was like, yo, I'm gonna rebrand. I changed the logo and I was like, yo, F the lawsuit. Like I just like F it. I'm gonna just put stuff out and I'm gonna do me and I'm gonna show them that I don't just do sneakers. So I just was cooking up, just designing. I was still in this dark place. Um, and I missed a court date. I got a new job. Like I've really started all the way over. Like when it happened, like stopped going to work. Um, the house burned down. Like I really started all the way over. And I got a new job. I'm going to this job. At this time, I got a new apartment, and I got another car. Everything is going good. Like I really started all the way over. And then I go home, you know, and I started getting emails. Like, what do you have to say? What do you have to say? What do I have to say about what? Like, and I open this email and it's speaking about like court. And I'm like, oh, I didn't go to court. Like I didn't get a notice because my brand was the address is registered in another township. Wow. So it wasn't even my apartment, any of the apartments I lived at, my dad, my mom's, it was just registered to another one. Like my LLC was registered somewhere else. So the people that lived there or whatever, they didn't even live there anymore. So it went there. So I didn't even know I had a court date. And at this time, no lawyer was involved. Like I was like, bump it, I'm taking it head on by myself. Whatever happens, happens. I was already prepared to file for bankruptcy because I was like, yo, I'm like, I can't pay millions or at this point I didn't know the number. The last thing they asked for was 30,000. So I was like, bro, I can't pay millions.
Yeah.
So I was like, whatever, like I'll file for bankruptcy. It is what it is. I'm about to just live my life. And I did everything. I started over. And I had to make like subscribe and do all of this stuff to get into the article because when the reporter emailed me, there was an article, but I couldn't see it. Like I had to be a subscriber. I do all of this. I'm like, oh, so I'm trying to get into it, make an account. I get into it, and I literally found out about what the number was from the article. So
and what was the new number?
4 million.
That's how much they wanted from you?
Yeah.
Nike?
4 million. And I wasn't at court, so it could have went really bad. I wasn't at court, and the judge said no. He declined it.
He declined their offer. Well, I guess their request for $4 million.
Yeah.
So what did it? Did it remain 30,000 or
no? So they won as far as like me not making shoes, which was fine because I didn't want to make shoes again. I just wanted to be a clothing brand. So the judge was like, he can't make any shoes, yada yada yada. I'm like, cool. Then they wanted me to pay for their court fees and their lawyer fees to like serve me and come to court, and I didn't show up and everything. So the judge granted that too, but then he left it without prejudice. So they requested for $4 million. He's like, bro, like, you know, it's just him. This guy didn't do $4 million in damage because that's what they said. I said I did $4 million in damage. So because he didn't do $4 million, like, but he left it with prejudice. So the case is closed, but it's still open because they have time to resubmit the damages that I actually done. So they could have came back and be like, oh, he did $2 million damage, and the judge could have been like, okay, $2 million is cool. But that's not what happened. And their lawyer reached out to me and he was like, bro, I'm tired of fighting this. And he's like, yo, we've been watching you for almost a year. And it seems like you went back to just making clothes. And that's what I did. Like when I rebranded, I was like, after the lawsuit, I'm just putting commercials. And everybody was like, yo, why are you like doing commercials? Why are you doing photo shoots? And I'm like, yo, because I have so much to prove. Like I have to show them like I'm really a clothing brand. And then people were saying like, I had a Mariah the Scientist shirt, so people were like, "Oh, you know, like he's not creative. He is not original. He doesn't make anything of his own." I'm like,
because at this point they're like, okay, he's the Jordan 1 silhouette stealer.
So they start scrolling through my page, like
Mariah the
streamers. They start streaming. They start streaming and talk about my case and scrolling through my Instagram and like, "Oh, he did a Dennis Rodman shirt. He's not original." And it's like, no, I actually like do other stuff, or I did other stuff, and I had to just show them like just straight like stuff that I designed, stuff that I worked on, and I got to work, and the lawyer was just like, hey, we've been watching you for almost a year, and you're not doing anything. You're not selling the sneakers. You're not doing anything. He's like, did you see that we got granted that you can't make the sneakers? I was like, yeah, I never really cared about the sneakers. And I was like, if I want to make sneakers, I could cook up my own sneaker the same way. What you call it? It's just, at this time, I lost that money and this was a cheaper route or whatever. I could even change certain structure of the silhouette to make my own. It was just more money. And I went with the cheaper route. So he's like, I'm tired of this. And I was like, I am too. I'm just on the phone, like, oh, I wonder where this is going. I was like, me too. And he was like, you see, we got granted you have to pay for the fees, for the lawyer fees and serving you. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, and can't meet the shoes. I was like, okay. And he's like, where are you at? Like, what do you want? Like, where do you want to take this? And I was like, I want it to be done. Like, I was like, I'm tired. It's stressful. I don't care for the sneakers. I just want it to end. And he's like, okay, I want it to end too. And I was like, oh. He's like, I'll talk to them and I'll call you back today. If not today, I'll call you back tomorrow and I'll let you know what they say. So I'm like, okay. So he didn't call back that day. I'm like, ooh. Didn't call back the next day. I'm like, they probably want to stay. They want to resubmit for some millions. So he ended up calling me like 2 days later, 3 days later. And he's like, Nike agreed. And I'm like, what? He's like, they agreed, but you got to pay the court fees. I was like, all right. He was like, okay. And I was like, how do I like know everything? He's like, I'm going to send you the document saying that we're closing it, in agreement saying like we came to a mutual agreement, whatever. And I got the document a couple days, like 2 days from that conversation. And it said that I had to pay $2,930.
That 30 again.
$2,930.
From 4 million to 2,930. I think I would take the.
And then the last agreement was 30,000. So me taking all the way there, yeah, it put some strain on my mental health. But I stood on everything, I stood on everything that my brand represented, and that was the outcome. $3,000.
From 30,000 to 3,000.
Right.
So throughout all of that, like that long emotional, trying and just heavy journey, who from the creation of the brand to find the lawsuit, from your house burning down to losing 30,000 from your family member, can you tell us who did you realize you were? Like who is Naadier?
Just somebody that can't be stopped, that could do anything, everything. Like I could do anything that I want. I just, you know, I feel like there's no stopping. If I really put my mind to it, there's no stopping me. I'm a creative. I'm a creator. I'm a creative. It doesn't matter what it is. Art. Everything is art to me.
Well, that's a story if I've ever heard one, and I definitely align with understanding the creativity and kind of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I have in terms of questions. Is there anything that you want to shout out? I know you're no longer making sneakers, but you are still making good clothes. So, where can we support global heartbreak? Yeah.
So the Instagram account is global.heartbreak. So it's global period heartbreak. And the website is ghbtakeover.com. When you guys are seeing this, it will be back up.
Smooth. And are you still dropping the quotes on global?
Yeah, every day. Heartbreak, yeah.
Heartbreak.
Yeah.
Archives. Okay.
Heartbreak Archive, yeah.
Appreciate that. Well, thank you so much for telling the story. I'm happy that you've finally been able to kind of share it with the world,
Right.
what you've gone through and who you've become and who you are embodying the brand. And I think that's a wrap for me. I'm Yoru. We're here in Naadier, and this is Inside the Vibe, ITV, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.